Android fans, what are the primary reasons why you will never ever switch to an iPhone? Universal back button. It's always there when and where I need it. I had an iPhone a long time ago and every app had its own back button in different locations. I can turn my text bubbles to any color I like. No real web browser choice. Apple requires that all browsers for iOS distributed through the App Store use WebKit as an engine. Which means that whatever their names, they are all in fact just themed Safari. Variety. I can get different phones in different styles with different functions with Android. I still have my old OnePlus 6T because it has an excellent camera and a light operating system. A modded version of Android, I believe. With Apple, you are stuck with a closed environment on a closed phone. Only variation, you get this if you buy a new one. And Apple makes damn sure to come out with a new phone every year. Which I will admit many Android phone companies do now too. Price. Familiarity with Android platform. No other devices in my home are Apple, so having just the iPhone would be a nuisance. I had an iPhone for work for a while and I hated it. Never again. I like my freedom. Android users are the admin of the phone. In contrast, iPhone user feels like they are just a user. Also, I don't want to upgrade my ecosystem, PC, tab, and accessories, just to be compatible, access to iPhone. What fictional character's death still hits you hard no matter how many times you watch it? I have to say the death of Artax, the boy's horse, in the never-ending story. Watching him sink into that swamp was pretty awful. Stoik the Vast, Chief of Berk, Hiccup's father, from How to Train Your Dragon. Bubba was my best good friend. And even I know that ain't something you can find just around the corner. Bubba was going to be a shrimping boat captain. But instead, he died right there by that river in Vietnam. The Iron Giant. Wally West and Young Justice. It's been about a decade and I'm still mad about it. Fry's dog from Futurama. Another testimony to the fact that animators can be true storytellers, who don't always need words to get their point across. The changing of seasons as the dog sits and waits in front of the pizza shop. Waits and waits for Fry, who never returns. No dialogue, just the absence of the dog. Eventually. Gut-wrenching. What will die with millennials? Memory of life without internet. When I was a kid, we didn't have the internet. I once tried to explain to my niece that phones used to be wired to walls. She's 10. She was 6 at the time. Cell phones are all she's ever known. Among the reasons she guessed as to why they were tied to walls. To stop people from stealing them. Remembering someone's phone number. Listening to the radio all day waiting for your favorite song. 3.5-inch floppy disks. What was that one childhood video game that you loved to bits, yet no one else seems to have ever heard of? It was called Pizza. Late 80s, early 90s jump-and-run game. Basically, you're a squirrel who time-traveled back to the Roman Empire. Your goal is to collect all the ingredients it takes to make a pizza. Sadly, I only had the demo version, which only included the first level. But I loved the game anyway. I think when you had the full game, you received a new ingredient after completing each level. The squirrel can only travel home to the present time again once it has all the necessary ingredients and is able to make a pizza. It was a really fun game. River Raid. Cell damage. https u2.be/schwomjalain_a T equals 122. Insanely great wacky races style game. Found in a bargain bin, never heard of or seen advertised. Impossible mission on the Commodore 64. Bubsy. Claws Encounters of the Third Kind. Played it on SNES. It was a cat running around the Wild West collecting yarn balls. I remember jumping on the roofs of trains and something about cactuses. It was amazing. Dark cloud! Exclamation mark. What will die with boomers? Yahoo News. QVC. My parents. Phoning someone to tell them to open the email you just sent them. Having good china. Affordable housing. What is normal at 3 p.m., but terrifying at 3 a.m.? Ice cream truck. A kid's toy randomly making a noise in another room. Family phone call. Doorbell ringing. My chair full of clothes. Phone call. 3 a.m. phone call is never a good thing. If you could get rid of one thing permanently, anything, in this world, what would it be? Alzheimer's. The brain synapse that allows someone to go through life without a shred of decency or compassion, while they blatantly discriminate against someone to their face. Or cancer. Whichever. It's fine. Selfishness. Human trafficking. Subscribe, my brothers.